Hey guys, Daniel from the Hightechmancave here again, and the title of this video is Galaxy Note 4 in 2018. Should I buy it? This is for anyone that is considering buying this phone because they've seen it listed in a secondhand web page, or somebody's selling one of these secondhand on Facebook with a price ranging, let's say, between 100 and 175 euros, 100 and 175 dollars or whatever. And you think, well, you know, it's 2018 now. Is this still a good buy? Is the Galaxy Note 4 still a good buy? Now, the way I'm going to do this video is I'm going to do pros at the beginning of the video, the cons at the second half of the video, and I'm going to sort of finish it up with a conclusion of sorts, or my personal take on whether you should buy it or not. Now, the pros. Let's start with the screen. 5.9-inch, big, bright screen, Super AMOLED, with Gorilla Glass on it. Now, what does this mean? It means that in direct sunlight, it is a very usable screen. You can buy a mid-tier phone now, which will not have a screen which gets as bright as this one does. Why does this screen get as bright as it does? Well, 99% of phones have sensors here which measure the brightness of the room or the environment you're in. And this particular model, when set to auto brightness in direct sunlight, will crank the brightness up beyond what you can actually crank it up yourself manually, making it fully usable in direct sunlight. So that's something to take into account, because, you know, we use our phones everywhere. Also, talking about the display, Gorilla Glass, which means that it withstands scratches and such pretty good. I've had this particular model since March 2015, and I've had it in my pocket with keys, headphones, my gym padlock and such, and, you know, there are some micro scratches on it, but nothing terrible. So, you know, the Gorilla Glass on this is really good. A lot of cheaper phones which you can get at the same price range, new, may not have that level of protection on the screen, and that's something to take into account. Then also you get a fingerprint reader right here at the bottom, which is a really ergonomical position for a fingerprint reader. Where nowadays a lot of manufacturers in 2017 flagships have opted to put their fingerprint sensors here at the back. This one still has it at the front, which is, I think, a very ergonomical position for a fingerprint reader. The camera, it can shoot at 4K, 1080p 60 frames a second, and you can record video, optically stabilized video at 1080p. So it does everything which a 2017 flagship can do. Now, also, on the pros, you're buying a second-hand device, you're probably going to want to buy a new battery for it. You can remove the back and change the battery. Finishing up the pros, I'm going to say, have I left anything out? Yes, the buttons, they're clicky, they're good. They're not going to lose their clickiness anytime soon. So, you know, good button durability is something which you want, because you don't want one of your buttons getting stuck anytime soon. It has a headphone jack, I forgot to mention, which is really good. Modern phones have opted for an adapter which you plug into the USB Type-C port, and, you know, it's not handy. You have to carry an adapter with you all the time. This actually has a headphone jack. Now, on the cons, one of the cons is the battery. Why is the battery a con? It just doesn't last very long. It doesn't last very long because of the charge cycles, that whoever it is that owned the phone has given it. So if it's been charged 200 times, 300 times, the life of that battery will have become considerably shorter. One of the reasons also because why the battery doesn't stand the way it used to, the firmware. The firmware means the operating system on this phone. This is running Android 6.1 Marshmallow, which is, you know, not even close to the latest version of Android, which means that applications are no longer optimized for that version of Android, which means that them not being optimized means they're going to chew through your battery life much faster. The camera, I've pointed it out as one of the highlights, or one of the reasons why you would want to get this phone. I will also point out one of the reasons why you may not want to get this phone. low light performance on these cameras is just not good. Both the selfie camera and the rear camera are not good low light performance by today's standards. 2018 cameras perform really good, really well in low light. This does not perform well in low light. And again, the screen on time. You get this device, you know, you may be able to, even with a quote unquote new battery, there is no such thing as a new battery for this phone. You will buy a battery which is either a counterfeit Samsung battery, which they're selling as an original Samsung battery, or a refurbished Samsung battery. But Samsung stopped producing batteries for this phone when they stopped producing this phone. So they, you know, you're going to buy a battery for this, which is going to be a new battery essentially, but it's not going to be an original Samsung Galaxy Note 4 battery. So the screen on time, expect anywhere, even with one of these Samsung quote-unquote new batteries, to be anywhere from 2 hours to 2 hours and 40 minutes of screen on time. If you're, you know, going to work and on mobile broadbands, you know, 4G, LTE, 3G, 3 hours and 40 minutes or 3 hours, 2 hours or 2 hours and 40 minutes screen on time is not a lot. So for a power user, that's going to be a huge letdown. You can, of course, mitigate this by carrying an extra battery, and that would mean carrying an extra 70 grams in your pocket that you have to carry charged and remember to charge. So my conclusion, 2018, do you want to buy the Note 4? Well, you're going to take pictures with really good light. You want a big screen to watch movies on the plane or on the bus or on the metro. You like the idea of having a stylus. And it's not really important that the battery lasts the whole day. Get this phone. Now, if low light performance the performance of the camera in low light is important to you, battery life is important to you, don't get this phone. If you're a power user, you know, don't buy a second-hand phone, which is not manufactured any longer, for the simple reason that the battery life is just not going to be that great, because the operating system is not optimized, and you know, so that's my take on it. I hope this was useful, guys, and see you next one.